Hi guys, welcome back to Beauty and Soul. So today, as you can see, I am not in the bathroom doing skincare. I am actually in my kitchen because I thought it'd be really cool to show you how I make my favourite stew, Doenjangjiggae, which is Korean soybean paste stew. Whenever I cook Korean food and post it on my Instagram, I always get lots of comments and replies saying, can you show us how you cook Korean? And I also posted on Instagram to let me know any questions about business, adoption, etc. that you might be interested in, that I will answer in a kind of mukbang type situation afterwards. So let's get started. So ingredients wise, I have some tofu. This is extra firm tofu. I usually use Korean tofu that I get from a supermarket, but I just picked this up in Waitrose. I've got some new potatoes. I usually use one large potato, but I had these sitting in my fridge, so I thought I'd just use them. 2 spring onions, 1 courgette, half a brown onion, 2 garlic cloves, salt, pepper, sesame oil. I've got some seaweed here that we are going to be using for the stock base, and then the key ingredient, which is the soybean paste here. So I get this from the Korean supermarket. There's quite a few dotted around London. Obviously there's the massive H Mart in New Malden. I usually just pick this one in my local Asian supermarket in Ealing. But as you can see, it's kind of like a miso texture, but it is a lot thicker and, in my personal opinion, much tastier. Okay, so I'm just going to prepare all of the vegetables now. So just roughly chopping the onion, and then the courgette I'm just going to put into small pieces. So probably like that size, bite size. Tofu is in small cubes, spring onion finely sliced, the courgette I lengthed halfways and then just sliced it like this, and then the potatoes in small chunks, onion, and then the garlic is ready in the garlic press. Okay, so for the soup stock, I usually do a mixture of the frozen, these are dried anchovies, which you can get from a Korean supermarket, and then the dried seaweed dashi. And I usually do a square of this and about 6 of the anchovies, and then I put into about 2 cups of boiling water. But because I'm doing Veganuary, I am not going to use the dried anchovy and only use the dried seaweed. I'm probably going to use a piece around this size, and then I've just got a small pot. I'm just going to put that in there and then boil the kettle and cook it for about 20 minutes. So I'm putting in about 2 cups of water in a branded Beauty and Soul mug. So leave that to cook for 20 minutes. So I've got my traditional Korean stone pot, but you can use any saucepan or heavy base pot. Just gonna put a little bit of oil. Again, traditionally you can put some seafood, so clams, prawns, or bacon or pork belly. I'm going to put in the onion, the potatoes, and also the courgette in here. I'm also going to crush my garlic, add in about 2 tablespoons of the doenjang paste. When your stock has been boiling for about 15 to 20 minutes, I'm going to strain it and put it in the stew. I'm just going to mix until the paste is dissolved, and then I'm going to cook that for 20 minutes so the potatoes are all cooked through. After 20 minutes, I am now going to add the tofu and spring onion. Then just let that cook for a few minutes until the tofu is soft and heated through, and then I'm going to taste it and season with salt and pepper. That's nice. I think maybe just a little bit of pepper. Okay, so I'm sat down with my doenjangjiggae. I have some banchan of seasoned seaweed slices. I'm addicted to these. And some kimchi And I've got a little bit of rice. I don't really have much rice with Doenjangjiggae because it's quite filling with the tofu, and there's also potato in. So I thought it would be fun to answer some questions that I posted on Instagram. So I put a little kind of question sticker on my story to say what questions you guys wanted to ask. There was a lot about beauty and soul, obviously business, why I got started, but I'm just going to whittle it down to kind of 5. So the first one was, what nationality do I identify with? And I get asked this quite a lot, and I always find it's really difficult to answer. So for those that don't know, obviously I'm adopted from Korea. I was adopted when I was 6 months old as a baby. And my dad is Dutch, my mum is English, but they were living in Australia at the time. So I was adopted into Australia. Moved around Australia, Sydney, Melbourne, Perth. Then I moved to Tokyo when I was 11. Oh my gosh, the potatoes like absorbed all of the doenjang paste. It's so tasty. I love this dish. And then I moved to Holland when I was 14, did high school there. And then moved to the UK when I was 17? Yeah, just 17. And moved to Manchester, went to the University of Manchester, and stayed in the UK ever since. So I would probably say that I'd identify myself as being Korean British, which is a bit odd because I hold dual nationality, so I hold British and Australian passports, so I should probably say I'm British Australian. But I just find the fact that I obviously look Asian, it's just easier to acknowledge the fact that I am part Korean as well. And I'm proud of that. Like, I think being adopted has taken a long time to actually feel proud of that. I used to get really frustrated when people said, oh yeah, but like, you're Australian, what do you mean you're Australian? Like, where are you really from? I was like, oh, but Australia's all I've known. Like, what do you mean, where are you really from? But I guess they were wanting me to say like Korea or China or Japan because I looked Asian. So I've just like learned to embrace that now. I'm super proud of the fact that I'm Korean. I've made a business out of it now. So I would probably say Korean British. I'm so hungry. One of the other questions someone asked me was what made me decide to do Veganuary. For those that know me, I love meat. I love pork, I love beef, I love burgers, I love chicken, and also just like cheese and eggs. I didn't realize how many like eggs I eat in a week. So yeah, when people, like when my friends like saw that I was doing Veganuary, they were thinking, wow, okay, that's quite random for you. It was one of my good friend's sister actually, and she said she was going vegan, which was quite shocking because she loves cheese, eggs, you know, all good food. And she said, well, I watched Game Changers. That really opened my eyes to the environmental impact that eating meat has. And also just about the health benefits. So Game Changers looks at elite athletes and how being on a plant-based diet really helped them with energy levels. And actually it's kind of a myth to say that you need protein and protein comes from meat only and that's how you become strong. So I watched it and at the end I was like, I'm gonna do Veganuary as well. I accidentally ate eggs the other day in pancakes, but oh well. But other than that, I found it a lot easier than I was expecting. I thought I'd really miss things, but actually there's so many good substitutes now. So I made vegan mac and cheese with cashews and nutritional yeast, and it tasted absolutely delicious to my amazement. And we tried this vegan alternative to chicken, and literally Steve and I could not tell the difference. So I'm giving it a try. I feel like my energy levels have been a lot better. I've actually lost weight on it as well. So yeah, I think if I can maybe be vegan 70, 80% of the time, at least that is a improvement. So another question that got asked is, would you ever consider bringing in makeup to Beauty and Soul in the future? So actually, when we launched Beauty and Soul in 2017, we did have makeup as part of our range. So we only had a few. I think we had lip tints, an eyeliner from Clio, and some mascaras. And it actually just didn't sell. I think Korea's known for skincare. I know that there's kind of K-pop makeup trends such as lip tints, gradient lip, and they do have really good, in my opinion, eyebrow and lip liners. But I think there's so much competition in the Western makeup market, and it is quite a different look. And actually the majority of our customers are Caucasian, not kind of Koreans living overseas and missing their own products. So I think that is quite a different makeup look. So I think in the West, a lot of people, they'll like do shading and contouring, kind of heavy eyeshadow makeup, which is quite different to the South, to Korea. So yeah, it may be something that we'll consider in the future, but I think for now, we're just sticking with skincare, because that's what Koreans do best. All right, let me go to the next question. I read this question when it came in. I thought it was, I really had to think. In fact, I actually don't know. What skills have you gained that you now appreciate learning, but at the time you didn't want to? I think because of my job in London before I moved to Korea, I was fairly confident in terms of pitching, presenting, and the kind of client account management side of things. But I didn't anticipate it to be quite so different speaking to Korean companies. There's obviously lots of hierarchy and etiquette, like business etiquette, that is quite different from Korea and how I've been raised in the UK. So that was something really difficult to kind of get to grips with. I think like negotiating as well. I think kind of discussing prices, MOQs, etc. All of that was a learning curve. Obviously, I had never done anything like that previously, so yeah, just a totally different skill that I had to pick up. Kind of supply chain management, so liaising with the brands and then importing it, and then warehouse all the way through to customer. It's quite a, if you think about where the product originates to kind of with you guys using it, it's quite a long journey, and just understanding each step of that. I think that, you know, I could probably say after 3 years of Beauty and Soul, it's taken a good kind of 18 months to get that really set up and smooth, and I think, touch wood, it is quite smooth now. We've got a really amazing warehouse. They're super passionate about us. There have been really little issues, and we're quite proud of the fact that we've got such a good rating across the board with customer satisfaction. But it has, like, it's taken quite a while to just get into that pattern and making it as slick as it can be. Next question. Quite a few people asked this. I think there's probably more questions around Beauty and Soul, but what inspired you to start Beauty and Soul? So I first visited Korea, I would say my motherland, I think when I was about 24, and I at the time didn't know anything about Korean skincare. And then when I obviously went to Myeongdong, I was thinking, oh my gosh, there's just so much choice here. And I've always been a beauty junkie, but for those that have been to Myeongdong and you just see shop after shop after shop of skincare brands, I couldn't believe it. And I completely fell in love with the products. And then returning to the UK, I just found myself frustrated that I couldn't get the products that I wanted. Also, Korean skincare, there's lots of different product categories. you know, at the time I didn't really know what an essence was or what acids are meant to do to your skin, or, you know, even sheet masks were relatively new back then. So yeah, I started looking at forums and I realized that I wasn't alone in frustrations. I also, I mean, to get the products I was buying directly from Korea, which incurred, you know, huge customs fees, shipping fees, and I also, a couple times I ended up buying fakes, which was obviously just really disappointing. Steve and I have kind of always said, like, wouldn't it be good if you could actually just do something with your love of Korean cosmetics? And then we thought, well, why can't we? And I think for me, because obviously I'd just been getting over the disappointment of my birth family search ending unsuccessfully, it seemed quite nice to have something that was connecting me to Korea, that kind of got me excited. At the time, it was a side hustle, it was kind of a hobby and a passion. But yeah, I guess over the last 3 years, I've just tried to make it something and tried to make it my living, which I'm fortunate enough that I can do now. But I think it'll always come back to the fact that as a Korean adoptee, it's just nice to come full circle and do something that's related to my birth country. So someone asked a question, what is the hardest thing about being a small business owner? There's a lot. The thing that surprised me, which I've massively struggled with and just didn't even consider would be a thing, was working alone. I think I'm quite a sociable, outgoing person, and I kind of took for granted in the office space when, you know, you're just speaking to so many people on a daily basis, you're going to meetings, you know, you're having coffee breaks with colleagues. You don't get any of that. I think it was kind of a shock to the system when I quit my job and then I started working from home. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, like, I've got no one to hold me accountable to things. I need to work, you know, twice as hard to motivate myself because, you know, there's no one else setting these things for me. And yeah, I just really struggled with feeling quite lonely. No one else was kind of doing the same thing as me and my group of friends. They all had, you know, very successful office jobs, and I was just sat at home most of the time like, I don't know what I'm doing. So yeah, I'd say that's probably the hardest thing. I think it's the same for like any freelancers that work for themselves. Anyone trying to build a brand, working from home. I think she wants some Doenjangjiggae. So yeah, that's my first attempt at a mukbang. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the recipes, and let me know if you like these kind of videos. It's obviously nothing really to do with skincare, although I thought with the mukbang it'd be quite nice to answer some questions, kind of get to know the story behind Beauty in Seoul and what I get up to and any questions that you guys had. But yeah, let me know if you like these types of videos. Please like, comment and subscribe. We're obviously still growing our YouTube channel, but we've got lots of exciting things lined up, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.